I am Reed, just a normal 27-year-old guy talking about building wealth and getting your life together in your 20s. You know, if you are anything like me, you've probably spent countless hours scrolling through the internet, searching for that magic formula, that secret handshake to break free from the everyday 9 to 5 routine. And honestly, what we often hear is that you need to land some high-flying six-figure job, or maybe, have a side hustle that is raking in $10,000 a month. We've all been fed that story, right? Work harder, climb the corporate ladder, get promoted until you finally hit that mythical $100,000 annual salary. And then only then are we supposed to feel truly free. But let me tell you something that frankly not many people are talking about. You really do not need a six-figure salary to escape the system. In fact, I've seen so many people earning as little as $40,000 a year, living with so much more genuine freedom than others who are making closer to $200,000. And today, I want to walk you through exactly how that works, and more importantly, how you, yes you, can escape that paycheck-to-paycheck trap without endlessly waiting for some magical income number to appear. Because the system, truly, it is not just about the money, it is about control. And once you really grasp how it operates, you'll discover you possess far more power and agency than you ever imagined. So let's chat about why so many of us feel stuck. And I am sure you've probably witnessed this scenario play out, maybe with a friend or a colleague, or even in your own life. Someone gets a raise, perhaps an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a year if they were lucky. And for a brief moment, there's this wonderful feeling, this sense of progress, this belief that things are finally changing. But then, the all too familiar story unfolds. They go out, they upgrade their car, maybe move into a slightly bigger, slightly nicer apartment. They start dining out more frequently, perhaps rack up a bit of credit card debt, buy some fancier clothes, plan more elaborate vacations, and guess what? That person is still just as broke. But now, they are simply broke while earning more money. This, my friends, is what we call lifestyle creep, and it is a cunning trap. It honestly does not matter if you are making $40,000, $80,000, or even $150,000 a year. If you are spending almost every single penny you earn, you will perpetually feel like you are running on a treadmill, never quite getting ahead. And honestly, the cruelest part is that the entire system is cleverly designed to make you believe this is normal. Social media, with its curated highlight reels, constantly programs us to think that this kind of spending is just what everyone does. Ads relentlessly tell us to upgrade our lives, to believe we deserve it. And social media feeds are brimming with people flaunting new cars, exotic vacations, and all sorts of materialistic designer possessions. Meanwhile, banks and credit card companies, they make it incredibly easy these days to borrow money, allowing you to sustain a lifestyle that, truthfully, you can actually afford. So yes, you can absolutely make six figures and still feel utterly trapped, which brings us to the real question: if simply making more money isn't the answer, then what truly is? There are a few different ways we can approach this. But the core truth is this: escaping your 9 to 5 does not, I repeat, does not entirely correlate with how much you actually earn. It is fundamentally about the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Some clever folks like to call this the freedom gap. So let us picture two different individuals. We have person A. Person A earns $40,000 a year, and they spend $25,000 a year. That, my friends, is a $15,000 gap. That is money they can save, money they can invest, they can strategically use to buy back their most precious commodity, their time. Now, let us look at person B. Person B makes a solid $120,000 a year, but they spend $118,000 annually. Their gap, a mere $2,000. They might appear incredibly wealthy on social media, but in reality, they are still very much trapped. So, who is actually closer to genuine freedom? It is not the person with the loftier salary. It is unequivocally the person with the wider gap. And I know what some of you might be thinking. Earning $40,000 and only spending $25,000, that might not feel realistic for everyone. But that is truly not the main point. The point is, that person has created a significantly larger gap than the individual earning $120,000 and spending $118,000. And that gap, that is what gives you options. These options can manifest in countless ways. They can be options to save more aggressively, options to invest strategically, or even, and this is my favorite, options to say no to things that burn you out, that drain your energy, and that simply do not serve you. Because freedom, my dear friends, is not about hitting some magical income number that we are all chasing. It is about the level of control you have over your own life and over your own expenses. So, how do we actually start building that invaluable freedom gap? Well, in my humble opinion, the quickest, most impactful way to achieve this is not by immediately trying to make more money. Now, if you go online, many voices will tell you that the very first thing you should do is increase your income. And while I absolutely believe increasing your income is a wonderful goal, it is not the fastest route to tackle that freedom gap. In my experience, you need to begin by needing less. So, let us take a good, honest look at your fixed costs, your biggest recurring expenses. This could be your rent or your mortgage, your car payments, perhaps some high interest debt that is weighing you down, and honestly, all those random subscriptions subscriptions you might not even use anymore. You need to perform a thorough audit of your spending and think about it this way. Every single dollar you do not spend is a dollar you do not have to earn at your job. So here's a simple perspective, a straightforward way to look at it. If you can meticulously go through your expenses and find a way to cut $300 a month from your lifestyle. And I am sure many of us can cut even more than that, but let's just say you aim for $300 a month. This could mean going out less on weekends, or perhaps cutting back on expensive habits like frequent drinking. That is essentially giving yourself a $3,600 raise, but without working any extra hours and honestly without doing anything extra at all. And the more you actively lower your fixed costs, the less dependent you become on needing a sky-high salary just to survive. So, if you can genuinely live comfortably on less, suddenly, almost instantaneously, you gain this incredible breathing room. You are not terrified of losing your job anymore. You are not anxiously glued to every single paycheck, and you start to build genuine choices for yourself. And having choices, that is the very beginning of true freedom. All right, so once we have diligently audited our expenses, what is the next crucial step? You have likely heard this before, but once your expenses are firmly under control and you have a clear understanding of where your money is going, the next vital step is to construct a robust safety net. Now, when I talk about building a safety net, I am referring to having about 3 to 6 months of living expenses, comfortably sitting in a wonderfully boring high-yield savings account, not cryptocurrency, not volatile single stocks, not some complex ETF, just plain, simple, liquid cash. And this matters profoundly, psychologically, because when you possess even a modest cushion to fall back on, suddenly you are no longer gripped by the fear of losing your job. You are not forced to endure toxic, burnt-out work situations. You are not desperate for that very next paycheck. All of a sudden, you have this invaluable breathing room, and that breathing room, it fundamentally transforms how you make decisions. You start thinking long-term instead of just counting down the days until Friday to see that paycheck arrive. And even if it is just 1 month of living expenses to begin with, that is still incredible progress. You do not need to save 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a mere 2 weeks. If it takes you 3 months or 6 months or even a full year to build that safety net, it is still powerful proof that you are building a solid foundation of stability. And that foundation of stability, my friends, that is something many people simply do not have. The system in many ways does not want you to have that. That kind of security is something truly financially free people possess. So by this point, we have meticulously audited our expenses. We have actively sought out areas where we can cut back, and we have a comfortable safety cushion in place. So, what do we do with all this extra money that is now flowing in? Do we rush out and buy a fancy new car? Do we upgrade to a bigger house? What is the right move? Well, the truth is we do none of that. We certainly do not put anything on credit cards. What we do instead is we invest, even if it is just small amounts, and you have heard me emphasize this numerous times on this channel by now. Because the thing is, if you are waiting until you make $100,000 a year to start investing, you will never truly feel ready. But if you start now, and again, it can be $5, $10, or $50 a month, you begin to build an unstoppable momentum. You want to make it tangible. So let us imagine you invest $100 a month into a simple index fund, assuming an average 8% annual return in 20 years. That is approximately $60,000, and I am quite sure most of us can find $100 a month to invest. That is truly doable for the majority of people. Now, if you double that to $200 a month, you are now looking at $120,000. And let us be honest, I am sure many of you can find $200 a month to invest. That is just $50 a week. And here's the truly wild part. Most of that growth is not even from what you personally contribute. It is simply from the magic of compound growth. So you are not directly putting in $120,000. You are putting in significantly less than that. So, while everyone else is buying a brand new car every 2 years to appear wealthy and keep up with the Joneses, you, my friend, are quietly, steadily stacking wealth in the background. In my opinion, this is the most enjoyable part. This is where you genuinely start to witness people's financial lives transform. So, we have audited our expenses, we have a robust safety cushion, and we have started investing consistently. What else can we do to truly break free from the system? Well, this is where you can truly get creative and things start to become incredibly interesting. Because once you have effectively lowered your costs, built that crucial safety net, and consistently started investing, your freedom gap begins to expand exponentially. When you possess a genuine freedom gap, you unlock something most people will never experience, and that is optionality. Optionality means you are no longer compelled to make decisions driven by fear. You can confidently say no to a toxic job. or an unhealthy work environment. Without a moment of panic, you can take time off to enjoy a much-needed vacation with your family and thoughtfully plan your next move. Or, and this is my personal favorite, you can choose to embark on a new adventure, start a side hustle, launch a business, whatever your heart desires, because you are not constantly worried about that upcoming rent payment. Think about it. If your monthly bills are $2,000 and you are earning $3,500, you only have $1,500 of breathing room. But what if you can skillfully cut your expenses from $2,000 a month to $1,500 a month, and you simultaneously find a way to earn an extra $500 on the side? Now you are stacking $2,000 every single month, and in just 1 year, that is $24,000 that you have saved. And that kind of financial cushion, it can literally change everything. This is precisely how everyday people, the folks you see walking down the street, break free from the system. It is not an overnight miracle. It is not winning the lottery, but rather it is about consciously creating a gap, intelligently using that gap to buy back your own precious time, and then leveraging that time to build something that grants you even greater freedom. So some individuals begin freelancing, some start constructing online businesses, or some simply invest steadily and gracefully coast their way through life. The specific path honestly does not matter as much as having the incredible option to choose what you want to do and possessing the freedom to actually pursue what you desire. All of this sounds absolutely wonderful, but the truth is, if you try to jump into this tomorrow and expect to completely dismantle the system by next week, you are going to lose all your motivation, because truly you need to undergo a fundamental mindset shift if you want to approach life this way. Here is what you absolutely need to understand. Breaking free from the system is not about some massive overnight transformation. It is about acquiring tiny, incremental bits of freedom every single day. It is about cutting one seemingly unnecessary expense, saving just a little more than you did last month, investing even when it feels incredibly small and perhaps a bit silly. To invest $5, the core idea is this. Imagine if you could purchase a small piece of your freedom every single day instead of, going out to dinner that night, or instead of buying the newest technological gadget, or instead of constantly upgrading some superficial aspect of your life. I would much rather wholeheartedly buy that little piece of freedom. If I could acquire a small slice of freedom every single day, sign me up for that. I would absolutely subscribe to that philosophy. So, look, making six figures is obviously not a bad thing. I am certainly not speaking ill of earning a high income. I would personally love to make six figures. It can undoubtedly help every single one of us. But what I have genuinely noticed is that many people get caught in a particular mindset, and I am speaking from personal experience here. This is something I truly felt within myself. I always told myself, if I do not make six figures, I am not going to make it. But the truth, my friends, is that is not the only path out. Plenty of people successfully escape that relentless 9-to-5 grind on average incomes, simply by being incredibly intentional with their money, and that is precisely the message I am trying to convey. So do not wait for some elusive magical salary number to appear. Start with the gap you already have right now, diligently lower your costs, build your financial cushion, and then quietly, patiently let the money grow. Because freedom is not and never will be about your income. It is about the profound control you have over your life and over your finances. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and definitely hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you have ever felt this way too, or if you thought you needed $100,000 to escape the system. And please share with me what moves you are making right now to break free. Whether you earn $50,000 or $100,000 a year, I truly hope to see you guys in the next video. I deeply appreciate all your support and have a wonderful day.